Yeah, welcome to another edition of the Beef Ball Blues Show. Neil Dog, no Bam Bam, no Devo. Just go take this one on all by myself. Got a big group here. It's going to be a fun show. I got just a few quick announcements that I want to jump in and throw out there before I get everybody introduced. One, I've been forgetting to give some love to our boy, Joe Fleeks, who suffered a tragedy not too long ago, losing his house, having it burned down. And there has been a GoFundMe page set up for him. If somebody could post that in the comment section, or I could follow up. I'll be I could post it out with the links when I put them out there. But I'm going to ask Joe to get on here on the show here in a couple weeks. So we could talk more about that, but also just talk about the fabulous season that he had. I'm proud of that young man for the big season he had. So we'll get on more on that in a few weeks. Also dealing with the Bayou City Heat, I got a message. Fonzie Madrano, our man Fonz, reached out to me after the last show, asking me to get in touch with him. So I was all worried, like, oh no, that's one person I didn't expect to make mad with this particular episode. But he was going back to a game of the day stream from the World Series that involved Houston, the Bayou City Heat, and the Gateway Archers. And it was said on that broadcast that the Houston, when they won their only championship in 2002, they were the Houston Bombers at that point. And I sent a message to the color commentator that had that wrong and told that individual that they were wrong. And they were actually the Bayou City Heat when they won that championship in 2002. But he on the stream said that Neil Dog didn't know what he was talking about. And Fonzie reached out. He wants it to be very clear that the Bayou City Heat were the team that won the championship in 2002. That is straight from the man, Fonzie Madrano, your 2021 Jim Quinn winner. So I actually want to get when I get Joe on the show in a few weeks, I want to get Fonzie on also. And finally, I want to say congratulations to Darnell Booker and Nestor Gonzalez. They have been named the two coaches of the All-Star games coming up at the All-Star weekend. And just, I'm not going to circle back much to the show from last week, but something I just want to be clear on, because I announced that I wasn't going to have anything to do with the All-Star weekend going forward. But I only mean as a player, as ranking players and being involved in the selection committee. I'm not going to do anything with that going further, but I am still going to be very supportive of the weekend. I think it's an extremely cool thing. I'm proud of Axe and Zach and D. Smith for putting this all together. I mean, what sport has players throw together an all-star weekend? But they wanted it, they dreamed it, and they made it happen. I'm proud of them for making it happen. If I were a player, I would want to be part of it. I still love all-star weekend for our players. So I'm not going to stop talking to the players that come on this show about it. We got 2 members tonight that are going to be part of it. So we're still going to be talking about All-Star Weekend. I still got love for All-Star Weekend and the showcase. I'm just not going to be an active participant in the whatever whatever behind the curtain stuff, which isn't going to affect anybody's life but mine in a better way. So no worries. All right, enough about that. We got a big show going on tonight. We are all Thunder Roll. Got a bunch of people here from the Thunder. I guess before we start diving into little things here and there about the season, I want to get the whole group introduced. I guess I'll start with you, Mr. Buhler. This is your second time on the show, but the first time was like 3 years ago. What's been happening, Zach?
Nothing much. Just competing in goalball. Started school last year for massage therapy, so just been doing that. Had a kid since then, so that's been wild to raise a daughter and everything. And so now I'm just back at school after the series. Just here training in Fort Wayne. Traveling for goalball, competing in goalball, and got goalball nationals coming up. So that's the next big tournament, and then we have a tournament coming up in Chile. So just getting ready for all that. And yeah, it's been a crazy, couple years here, but
How old is your daughter?
9 months, like 4 days ago, she just turned 9 months old. So
Very cool.
it's flown by, but
Well, congratulations on that. Yeah, I was thinking getting
thank
ready
you,
for the
appreciate it.
show when when I had you on the show last. That was the first time I had a team on the show, and it was the Thunder, and it was you, Eric, Tyler, and Corey on. And
Yeah,
all of you were together at the Rodriguez house for your bachelor party weekend. Like you were that
yeah,
close to getting married at the time. So
yeah,
kind of cool to come full circle, have you back all married,
yeah. No, absolutely.
Olympic medals, kids. Been big 3 years for you.
Yeah,
We
no, for sure. No medals yet, but
Oh, my
no,
bad.
it's all good. It's all good. It's
My
all
bad.
good. I was gonna
Uh,
say it.
no, it's all good. We're gonna dive into the season you had, and we'll talk more about all the other stuff. I want to get the rest of the group introduced. I want to go to you next, Mr. Kyle Lewis. Kyle, this is your second time on the show, but I consider it your first real time on the show because you had to suffer through that big Christmas show mess I tried like 3 years ago.
Yeah, what an entertaining night, though. I'd like to formally apologize for my behavior. We started an hour late, so I started drinking 2 hours too soon. So I am relatively sober today, so we're doing good.
There's no reason to apologize because nobody was a larger mess than me that night. So, I'm I don't remember anything else except for all my mistakes, but it
I thought
happened.
I thought it was New Year's, so
The New Year's thing, I did host a New Year's thing, but that was just kind of a hangout. You know what I mean? Everybody's kind of on lockdown with COVID. So I just threw a Zoom link out there, and if anybody wanted to join in, they could. But when you were actually on, that was the final episode of TBBS for the 2020 calendar year. So I attempted a big Christmas show, and it was a big mess, and that's why I've never attempted it again. Hey, real quick before I get other people introduced, how you feeling, man? You've been. It feels like you've been mending up, and I know you, Zach, who we just talked to, is still recovering from like a knee injury from last year, but it feels like you've been healing from injuries for like the last 3 years, man. Where are you at physically?
honestly feeling really good. Had back-to-back meniscus tears, so a couple of surgeries. Actually, tore my meniscus again this season, first practice. Had surgery in February, so really pleased with how it held together and how the legs felt overall. Still got a long way to go to be where I want to be. But to be fair, I haven't been where I want to be since I was, 19, 20. So, but all things considered, the body's holding up well. I had no issues at the series this year, so was blessed for that.
And give us a quick update on your brother Michael Lewis, who had some heart issues at our World Series this year that everybody's familiar with. How's Mike coming along?
He's doing good. So I mean, everyone knows that he had a heart attack several years ago at Bolingbrook, and some of the medications he's on, and post recovery permanently, he's not able to like regulate his body temperature properly. So it was just too much heat for him. And what happened is he overheated, and then it was just too much for his brain to figure out where to send the blood that was needed the most, and that showed off in the chest, in the heart. So he recovered perfectly from that. Nothing serious whatsoever. He made it back, in time to go home, so he didn't have to fly, which was nice. I'm sure. I bet he enjoyed that. But he's still
That's very
doing good.
dangerous, though. That's
Yeah,
dangerous.
it's scary. It is scary. It's absolutely scary. But he's doing better physically, health wise, over the course of the last 2 years, and he's continuing to make improvements, which is going to help in the long run. I mean, once he can get his body where he needs to be, he's going to be able to perform a lot better for a lot longer periods of time.
Well, shout out to him for continued improved health, and to Melanie Taylor from your team also, who had knee surgery earlier this week. Shout out to her. Hope she's recovering all right. It was Melanie that got me into the host hotel. I was going to be across the street, stuck with the Titans, but I was able to get into the host hotel thanks to Melanie Taylor. So I hope she's healing up. Let me introduce the rest of our crew, then we could start talking Thunder Beep Ball. Reece Lewis. Now that I know your last name, I just knew that somebody named Reece was coming to the show. I didn't know who it was going to
Hello,
be.
hello, hello.
Hey, Reece, how are you, young man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I understand you're a spotter now for the Thunder.
Yes,
How
yes,
long
I
have you
am.
been spotting?
Just a couple years. I mean, I learned probably like 4 or 5 years ago, but like I was never allowed to because I was too young.
So this was your first year out on the field with the team?
No, this is my second year out on the
Oh, okay.
field.
Okay. Well, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to jump in. Let me get these last two introduced, and then we will talk some more beep ball. Ikram, I'm going to ask you to come up, and I need to start by, can you clear me and the rest of the beep baseball world up on your name? Yeah, I've heard Muhammad Ikram. I've heard Ikram, Icky Ikram. Like, I don't know what to call you. I like to call you the real sticky icky, but that's kind of a California thing you might not appreciate.
I don't care, but on my paper, my name is Muhammad Ikram, but I go with Ikram, and so they use my last name in my nickname. But now they have another nickname for me, Iki. So that's weird, but I don't mind. It's all good.
Do you have a
But
preference?
yeah, no, I don't care. At least they call me.
At least they're calling. Fair enough. Fair enough.
At least they don't sing.
I believe I just saw a post from you either yesterday or the day before. Did you just in the last few days become an American citizen? Did I read that right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, I took oath just yesterday. Yeah. So I'm
Talk
just
about that a little bit.
born yesterday.
Well, happy belated happy birthday a day late. Talk about that a little bit though. Tell us about your journey, like how long you've been working at that.
No, since I moved here, I was a student and finished my school, got a job, and then applied for my citizenship. It was taking forever because of COVID, but finally it happened. Oh my God, it was a long process. Thank God I didn't have to pay anything else, anything. I knew what to do and I fill out my own forms and everything. So it was kind of tricky when you're doing things your own and you never did, and some forms were not accessible. So kind of crazy, right? But it was okay. I learned a lot. I can help others to become American now.
Oh, very cool. I mean, that's actually, I don't know how many people like from this little show or whatever will hear that, but that's actually a big deal because like, you just shared like what a challenge it was at time because of the accessibility and stuff. So if somebody needs it, I hope they reach out to you for that. Kind of I guess a two-parter. Like when did you come to America and where did you come from?
So I came from Pakistan. I grew up in Pakistan, big city in Pakistan, but basically I was from village, small village from Pakistan.
Okay.
And for education and everything, we moved to a big city because we didn't have any special school or anything, and we didn't have any system like in America that you can study in normal school and they provide you everything. So that was kind of difficult for us as a whole family moved into big city, and then I finished my school, got a good degree, and got scholarship in 2015, and I came here for studies. And so before I moved here, I didn't know English, and finished my English course in 6 months, and by the time I was doing those study and English courses and everything, I joined Thunder. And so many curse and bad words they taught me how to talk. And sometimes I mean, I used to simple word like damn. They said, "Oh damn." I was like, "What the heck is damn?" So I was calling that thing for a while, and one time Ron says, "You know what damn mean? It's a curse." I'm like, "Oh really? I didn't know that. I'm sorry." So I feel like these Rodriguez people, they corrupted me.
I didn't write
Yeah.
explicit on the show description, so you can't share too many of the words that they shared with you. But that's a funny
No,
story.
I'm just giving example.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
No.
saying, because
I
now I
was
know.
I was making a joke anyways. That was a funny story. That was a funny story. All right, let me get Cody introduced, and then we will dive into beat baseball. Cody Jeffares, man, you had a monster year, dude. I I appreciate you coming on and joining this group. I had fun meeting you while I was out at the World Series. Give us a little background. How did you end up in this game? Oh, we lose Code?
Nope, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
So, yeah, mine, funny enough, Roger Keeney was honored at the at this year's banquet, and he had a lot to do with how I got introduced to the sport of beat ball back in 2019. I don't know if you remember the Athens Timberwolves, that monster of a team.
Yep.
I met Roger at a convention. I was doing like assistive tech sales at the time, and I had heard of beat ball through one of the Tyler Tiger players, Tracy Jackson. He trained me on Jaws, and he'd mentioned that, about beat ball and stuff, but I didn't really know too much about it at the time. And so I was going to get with him, the following year to learn about it. And, that next spring I was doing an event up in Athens for like some assistive tech demonstrations. And I heard a beat ball go off. Somebody pulled a pin on a beat ball, and I just beep, 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 beep. I grabbed my girlfriend, Christina. I was like, hey, I don't care what we're doing. I set all our stuff down. I don't care. We'll close up right now. I got to go talk to that person. Let's go find him. We walk over there, and it's Roger Keeney. He's showing off beep baseball. And, I waited behind a couple people. Once he got done talking to them, I walked up to him and introduced myself and told him, who I was. And, I'd recently lost vision, just a few years back. And, I've always been into sports and lifting weights, and always been into athletics, from the time I was little, and was interested in checking it out and seeing what it was about. And he said, okay, well, next Saturday, come up to Athens, come to a practice, and we'll see what you think. And so that's where it all began. I came up that next Saturday to Athens, made the 2-hour drive, got out there on the field for the first time, put a blindfold on, and that was all she wrote. I fell in love from the second I stepped onto the field. I knew that was me. Like, it was amazing. And so I played that first year with the Timberwolves, me, Justin Holland, a couple guys from the Bombers, and it was a fun year. I had a ton of fun with those guys. Obviously, the expectations weren't, we didn't really have expectations. It was go out, have fun, and that's what we did.
That's what made your finish kind of cool, is that there were no expectations or whatever.
Yeah, it was with that team. It was just go out, have fun, no expectations. Just me, Justin, being goofballs out there, just having fun, playing next to each other on defense, joking and laughing the whole time. And it was just an awesome year. And then, COVID happened, and the team unfortunately shut down because most of the people were older. There was only half of the team. We only had, I think, 8 players at that World Series, and most of them came from out of state, between the Bombers, players that helped out, and a dude named Casey Bond. And Justin obviously lived in North Carolina. I was 2 hours away from Athens. And so there was only 3 local players, and they hung it up when COVID happened. So the team kind of disbanded. That's when Justin he played a tournament with the Chaos over COVID. And then, they invited me out, so I hopped on with them for 2021.
I realized after I said it that I was mixing up when talking about you and Justin, the cool finish. I was talking about when you guys help the chaos surprise everybody. I guess like in 2020 and 2021, kind of coming on the scene. Then it hit me. It's like, he's still talking about Athens, though. You dum dum.
Yeah.
Me being the dum dum, not you.
No, you're good. But yeah, that was the 21 season. Our first year, the first year of the chaos actually going to the World Series. You know, we went to the series and finished 8th, which, you know, nobody expected that. We had a really good tournament. Kind of fizzled out the last few games. The offense wasn't there. I think we only scored like maybe 5 runs over our last 2 or 3 games. It was, you know, the offense definitely fizzled out towards the end. We only had, again, we had 7 players, I think, and one of our guys messed his ankle up, so he was down. So, you know, me and Justin played, you know, every play. You know, there was no time off.
Yeah.
It's a long week, but it was a lot of fun.
And when you talk about it like fizzling out, like that's not surprising with the team that's kind of just coming together. I think the thing that is hardest for new teams to learn, and I talked to the Sirens a lot about that this year, is you know, going and playing all those games in 2, 3, 4 days. Like if you're doing well, like the Chaos finish in 8th, you played a little deeper into the tournament. You know, it's like you don't know how to get your body ready for that until you go through it.
Yeah,
it's not just the players, the pitchers too. You know.
Yep, and I think that's what it is too. You know, when you throw that many pitches, and you know you're not used to, you know, with the Chaos, we didn't really practice every single week consistently all the time, right? That the practice is pretty limited as far as, you know, the amount of work we got in, and you know we definitely felt that towards the end of the series there. But it was still awesome to go out there and, you know, like I said, nobody expected us to finish that high, and it was fun. And obviously Justin made the hop over to the edge and had a little bit of a different finish in 22. And you know, that's when after that season I got the invite from the Thunder. You know, I've talked to these guys for a while, and when that happened, I can't tell you the feeling that I got from that, but it was so exciting. Like, that's one of the most exciting moments of my life. And
and this is a good point to transition into the Thunder. I mean, I want to kind of make this part like a little round table as we talk about the Thunder, but I am going to start with you, Cody. This was your first year with the Thunder, and you had an unbelievable year, not just at the World Series where you were the offensive MVP, but I mean, you were doing it all summer long in every tournament you played in. I believe I heard a stat that I'm going from memory, so I don't know if I have this right, that you went something like 45 for 61 this summer overall. Do you know if I'm anywhere close to right?
So it was something like that for the regionals. That was before going into the series, yeah.
Oh, that didn't include the regionals. I mean, it didn't include the series. I mean,
yeah, that was without the series, yeah.
You had 60-something at bats before the World Series.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I mean, you know, from California, the Dogs couldn't like afford to travel around, and there weren't nearly as many tournaments back then. But I've never had 60 at bats in a season. I don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't. That's a crazy number of bats. But you know, did you change anything up? Did you just do your job the way you've been doing it, and you just had really good success with Jared? Like, what you know? Anything different in your game this year?
Not. I mean, I'll give all the credit to Jared. I mean, he's you know, he's definitely the best pitcher in the game right now. Argument to be made, you know, best all time, and he's an awesome coach. Him, Book, and all the guys on the team, you know, they're all, you know, even the players on the field, Kyle, Zach, Adam, you know, James Michaels, they're like mini coaches on the field. You know, I can always go to them and ask stuff, but as far as changing things up, not really. I mean, you know, going back to, you know, days of the Chaos, we didn't really practice super consistently, but I always did. Like you know, working out, staying in shape, hitting off the tee, preparing, you know, doing stuff on my own. Like I do my own preparation and do my own work, and I make sure I get it in. And you know, I've been doing that for, you know, 3 or 4 years now, and it finally finally showed up this year. And part of it too was, I'm surrounded by, these dudes that have been on these, championship caliber teams for, 5-6 years now. Expectations are a little bit different. Like, I'm not going to go out there and let Zach down, let Kyle down, let Adam down. The expectations are definitely a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the weak link in the chain because, I got the invitation to come in with these guys, and it meant a lot to me. I wasn't letting those guys down. So I think that's the only thing that really changed.
Well, obviously, it was an excellent fit. Before I throw some more questions around, I want to talk about Jared and Booker. Booker sent some Bonanza shirts home with me for Seth and I. And actually, Seth was at my house, even though not on the show tonight. He was at my house for a few hours earlier today. So I was able to pass that on. But I know Darnell's going to be upset because I'm not wearing the shirt, the Bonanza shirt. I haven't worn it on one of the shows yet, but I'll get to that. The reason I had asked Jared to pop on, I'm glad he didn't waste his night because it was just a silly little reason. When I got out to the World Series, the first day I was out there for the whole day on Wednesday, I was wearing a team I played for. My first team that we started here in Sacramento back in the 80s was called the Sacramento Thrashers, and I had one of my Thrashers jerseys on. And I told the first person when I got to the fields looking for where I was going, first person I ran into was Jared, and he was impressed I was wearing this old Thrashers jersey. And I told him it was from 1993, but I had my jerseys mixed up. That jersey was from 1987 when I was 19 years old, man, and it probably looked it too. I wish I didn't mix them up because I didn't like that jersey as much as I like the one I have on now. The Thrashers jersey I'm wearing tonight is our jersey from 1993, and I am still sporting it nicely, gentlemen. Jerseys I was wearing 36 years ago. Just I guess I'll stop bragging about me. Show's not about me, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. So, Jared, that was the only reason I asked you to come on the show, so I could show off my 1993 jersey. Kyle, I'm going to start out with you while we do kind of a roundtable about the Thunder. And I want to go back just a little bit to 2022. You're a captain of the team. The 2022 season for the Thunder was just a crazy season. Off the field stuff. On the field, you guys lost quite a few of your players. You were injured. Zach, you were injured. The season, just like from winning 5 championships in a row to looking like the wheels were totally falling off, and maybe that was going to be the end of the Thunder. I don't feel like I gave the Thunder enough credit. I know I talked about it some, but I don't think I gave you enough credit, Kyle, for the grit that you guys showed finishing 6th place last year, considering all the injuries, the losses, and just all the off the field stuff. I mean, there are teams that were out there adding players that still couldn't crack the top 6. Do you agree with me that you guys were you proud of like the effort you guys showed considering everything?
I mean, absolutely proud of my guys. It's always disappointing when you don't finish first.
Yeah.
So I thought we had more in us than 6, but given the season that we had and the disasters around every corner, 6 wasn't bad at all. So we knew we had more in us. We came out this year, we did better. We still got more ways to go, more room to grow, and we're going to come back next year and reclaim our title. So we'll call it a rebuilding phase. And I'm not sure, was Zach actually injured or is he just being soft? I couldn't.
Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh. Wasn't the last year when you had the ACL injury to your knee, Zach? Or was that 2 years ago?
No, yeah, that was back in 2022. And that was kind of the bummer part of the season. Like, I think I found out in April that I had torn my ACL and was going to need a surgery. Then Koo, like maybe a month or so later, found out
I was down in May, yeah.
Yeah, and then like Jared got jacked in the mouth.
Oh, yeah.
In June.
Yeah, so it just like we were so pumped from January to like April, and even after April, like we were still pretty pumped. And then May came around, and it was like, oh no. And then like Jared went down, and it was like, oh boy, all right, well. I like still believed in our guys, right? And like it was just we had such bad luck that whole year that we were worried about people getting hurt further at the World Series. But no, it was, this year was a blast. Like, I didn't get to make a couple regional tournaments, but the tournaments I was there, like, these guys are always fun. That's why that's why I stayed. I had a lot of people shocked that I didn't leave when I kind of came back or said I was staying with the Thunder, but this group of guys and coaches and the volunteers we have, it's just, we're all so tight that, like, even when we lost, we go back to the hotel, we kind of dwell over it for a little bit and then, have a good time at the banquet. So.
Now that's one thing I loved about all my years with the Dogs. It was different from my other teams from the standpoint that we won together and we lost together. Like, when we lost on the Dogs, we didn't point fingers, we didn't start assigning blame. You know what I mean? We took the loss. We won as a team and we lost as a team, and we came back and fought together. Sticking on the 2022 season, Ikram. I've been familiar with you for a while, and I've known you're on the Thunder, but I didn't really get to know you as a player until the 2022 season last year. I look at 2022 as like the Ikram coming out party. Do you agree with that, or do you feel like you were getting your name out there beforehand?
No, actually after COVID, I started improving because I was done with my studies and everything. And I was trying to pay attention to my batting and defense. My defense was not bad, but my offense was not there. But 2022, yeah, because Kyle got injured, Zach got injured, so somebody has to take matters in their hands. So somebody has to come up, and but I tried, but couldn't get through. It's okay. I mean, it's all good. That was 2022. That I really like shined because I
Yeah.
had space to grow and I had chance to prove that I can also play people too. And I mean, I've been sitting on bench for like 7 years or something, and didn't have chance. But when I did, I'm here, and that's good. I mean, I feel like there is still always room to grow, and Jared and Darnell always there to help me, and especially Jared give me confidence that hey, uh, just go and play, and we believe in you. And wherever they put me, I prove that I deserve it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Kyle, wouldn't you agree too that, like, when I guess I talk about, like, the gritty performance you guys put up, but like a lot of, like, I know you guys are disappointed, but like for me and maybe some of the other people outside of the team that were surprised with having a strong World Series in 2022. Don't you think it was like stories like Ikram, like coming out of like nowhere and showing themselves that contributed to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've always had a deep bench here on the Thunder, and people underestimate that. And we were especially able, I think, to show that off quite a bit this season as well, as how, that our bench is deep, but our bench can also play. I don't like
that's
to think
why I
about.
laugh. There was one like weekend tournament. You guys played like 18 different players or something.
Yeah,
in a weekend tournament. That's crazy.
Well, and we're blessed with a great mix of, veterans to Hall of Famers. When you look at James Michaels, down to people who've been playing the game like me for 15 years, down to rookies coming in who are young and in shape and athletic and don't mind carrying the coolers. A great coaching staff have been in this game for so long. We've just been, so blessed with that mix. And that mix is, if you look at Ikram, and he's the great case of the lack of playing time in this sport. If we can get the cost down to free, we would have 1,000 Ikrams in this league. But when you have 6 players for 6 innings in 4 games, playing time is a hot commodity in this league, and I'm sure everyone's familiar with that. So when he got his opportunity, he took it and he made his name for himself, and I love it.
Ran with it. Yeah, so let's go ahead and fast forward to 2023, where you guys even had a stronger finish. You bring Zach back into the mix. A healthy Zach Buhler's not going to hurt anybody's offense. I know you're still fighting.
Fantasy.
Well, you were on my fantasy team, Zach, but I came in dead last. I don't blame you, but I didn't do so good at filling out my whole roster. I had 3 Thunder players on. Gerald, I had G, and I had I think Chris Dunleavy also. But I did good at picking like some hitters and outfielders. I picked no infielders really, so that's where my stats killed me. I wasn't getting any defensive pickups, like in large numbers. I had all mid players and outfielders. I don't think I had one short player on my old team, which was bad drafting on my part, obviously. On the 2023 season, do you feel? I'll start with you, Kyle, and then work around to everybody. Do you feel like you guys had a real strong bounce back, or are you still disappointed because you got your target set at number 1?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, disappointed in the results, happy with the path, right? I mean, it was a hard-fought battle to get into 3rd this year, and everyone experienced it this year with the craziness of the World Series. Shout out to the tournament committee, who did a great job at making sure we had the opportunity to play ball this year. But yeah, like it was a long week, and we just didn't play good enough ball, and that's what it comes down to. We have a bad habit here in Indiana, blaming the refs for everything. But yeah, it really came down to we just didn't play the game that we needed to play, and we still got that chip on our shoulder to prove in 24.
That's fair. Ikram, you got anything to add to that about your 2023 season?
Yeah, especially World Series was horrible for me. There were some plays that I should be making, and if you see my Philly game, it was really horrible. I blame myself, and I'll take as a opportunity to improve, and definitely we will come back again. And as a team, I don't think so. We didn't do bad, except Zach. I mean, but other than that, we were
And
fine.
I think an interesting stat for you, and I'm not positive on the number, Neil, so you could look into this. I think it is something that you won't see on the other team. We had at least 4, if not 5 players playing short left during the World Series. And that's just not something you see in beat ball. I mean, we have that capability of rotating our guys, moving people around, putting people in different spots, and that's not something you see in this league a lot. I think that's one of our stronger attributes.
Now, most teams don't have more than, because we're talking about people we feel comfortable putting in short left, right? Not just you can stick anybody there, but you got to be comfortable with the decision you're making. And
we're talking short left, not deep right.
Yeah, most teams don't have more than like 2 people to go to, and I'm sure some of that, like where you had to, like I know James Michaels and Adam Rodenbeck were banged up, and they're 2 people you can consider. Who are the other like 3, or how many do you say? 5?
Ikram, I know you played up there this year for a little while at the series, right? And then I actually got to, and this was a personal badge of mine that I get to have that no one can take from me. I got my first put out playing short left at the World Series, and my son Reece there made the call. So it was my first put out with Reece making a call for me, and it was my first put out short left. So it was quite exciting for me.
Hey, Reece.
Yeah, short left.
Go ahead.
Short left was really good at. I did really good short left on Chicago tournaments, and I made defensive team. So yeah, I think I was really good because James was not there. But just like Kyle says, we have people that can search and go any place that we can move people around.
Hey, Reece, is that cool? Like getting to spot with your, like spotting left field with your dad up there in the hot spot?
Dude, it's amazing. I love spotting with my dad. I love spotting with Zach. I love spotting with James. I love everyone out there. I love Icky. Like it's so fun spotting with those guys. Like they just run around. It's fun.
How early did you know you wanted to spot?
Honestly, I'm not sure because
Okay.
like I wanted to do it and then I didn't, and then I just started doing it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I can fill that
He
in
knew
for
from the
you.
time he was born.
I
Go ahead,
was
Kyle.
yeah, you were 11, 12, right? When he first wanted to start going out there and spotting. And we had a couple of young individuals out there, 10, 11, 12, wanting to learn to spot. And, you know, Thunder, as a bit of a large organization in this league, right, came together and decided to put an age restriction on spotting just as a safety precaution. So he was put off from that until he was 14. And then, you know, at that point, he wasn't quite sure if he wanted to do it or not. So happy that he, you know, changed his mind and we were able to talk him into getting out there and showing up. And because he is one of the best spotters I've had the opportunity to play with. And I've played with some really good spotters in my career. He's fast, he's accurate, he's fun. It's great to see him out there playing.
I love hearing that. You know, Seth's oldest son, Trajan, I mean, he's in college now, so in playing college football, so he hasn't been able to be involved in beep ball. But when the Heat made it to the championship game in 19, yeah, I guess I played you guys. Was that 19? Do I have the year right? 18? I don't know what year it was.
18.
Okay. When the Heat made the championship game in 18, they had Trajan was their spotter. And you know, Seth's one playing out there as much maybe as you play. He oftentimes have more of a designated fielder or a designated hitter role. So I don't know that he got to you know, like experience the whole thing like you and Reece, but I love the fact that Trajan grew up around the game and then started spotting, and that they loved him, like the Heat. They loved him as their spotter. They even had him working as their backup pitcher by the end of the year. So I don't know. I love seeing, like, you know, people's kids getting involved and all that. Cody, or actually, let me go to you first, Zach. Staying on the 2023 season, because you know, between goal ball and your knee injury and everything, like you haven't been on the field as much with the team while they went through the on and off field struggles over the last couple of years. What did it feel like for you to, one, be able to get back out there and be able to contribute on the field, but also, like, how do you feel about how you guys have bounced back and where you're at now?
Yeah, no, for sure. You know, definitely kind of disappointed about the third place, but you know, that's just because, you know, we have that mentality, and you know, you always want to go into a tournament like wanting to win it. So
Yeah.
definitely disappointed a little bit with the third place, but definitely thought we bounced back. Like, we were all super stoked for the season. You know, we were honestly just kind of, I think, wanting to put a little respect on the Thunder name, if, you know, nothing else. And so definitely wanted to, you know, try to do that, just restore, you know, a little bit of respect. And I think we definitely accomplished that. Like, I felt like we fought hard. If it wasn't for like one 4-hour game and one almost 5-hour game before we had to play the Jets that night, like you know, I think that took a lot out of us. And by the Friday last game, like, you're already exhausted even without the heat, and we were just, you know, just kind of done by that point. But felt good to, you know, bounce back, be a part of, you know, the team again. I hadn't competed in a series since, man, like 2019, so it was definitely good to get back, and knew I was going to gel with all these guys. Like, Koo's the one that kind of taught me how to play, you know, back deep. You know, Ikram was always the one up until these past couple of years that would always harass me on the bench and talk smack the whole entire time when I was coming off the field. You know, meeting Cody was, you know, a huge addition to Cody, and he's awesome to chill with. And, you know, got to really get to know him this year. And Reece, like, used to jump on my back all the time at the World Series, and, you know, being a little kid that would just run around with me and go chase a ball every once in a while. And now he's spotting on our side, which is wild to me and makes me feel old. So I can't imagine how the rest of these guys feel. But
Hey Reese, I think Zach is one of that's it didn't just hurt the Thunder to not have to have his bat missing when he wasn't able to play, wasn't around, whatever. But I consider Zach one of the best out deep left fielders. Do you agree with that as his spotter? You might be a little biased though.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. He's pretty fast out there. Like, well, I feel like a lot of people can't get to those ones. Like they just don't move. I don't know how to explain it. And
Ones
like,
is your defense. The ones are on the line, correct?
yeah, yeah.
What
And
zone do
I've,
you what zone do you actually play in, Zach?
so I start in the 3 and I cover the 1 to the 6.
You pretty much cover from center all the way to the line.
yeah, we play 2 deep rovers, basically.
Okay. You were starting to say something else, Reese? I'm sorry. I think you were.
Um,
Yeah.
That was me. I was just going to say, and I've said this for years, I think pound for pound, Zach's the only person that can give Eric a run for best overall player in the league. And I think that if you were to reverse the roles and put Zach starting out his career in short left and Eric starting out his career in deep left, that story would be different, and you'd have to be comparing Eric to Zach because they're both just two, hell of beat ball players. They've got the ear, they've got the natural athletic ability, they put in the work. I see Cody ending up in that conversation as well because he was modest about his batting when he switched over here. Cody's just a unit all the way around. So yeah, I mean, that's just me on Zach, and I can say that biased or not biased because I've played with both those guys.
No, that's fair. I mean, I'm not going to jump into the, if history was different, this would be the case,
Right.
whatever. But I mean, I think very highly of both of them as all-around players. A couple years ago, I think it was Zach Arambula reached out to me and asked, like, if you're picking an Olympic team in beep ball for a starting lineup, who would be in it? And of course, both Eric and Zach are in it because I like all-around players, and I consider them both two of our best all-around players. Zach Arambula had to go on that list also, though, when I sent that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Cody, I'd started to ask you, and I still want you to jump in. I know this was your first year with the Thunder, but like, how do you feel about the 2023 season as a whole going into 2024?
A little mixed about it. As Kyle and Zach kind of mentioned, little disappointment there. Not getting to where we wanted to be. We wanted to be there on Saturday. We want to be competing against, the Edge or Jets, whoever made it Saturday. We were pretty sure it's going to be the Edge. But we felt that we had the roster to do it, and I full-heartedly believe that we did. And I think we have the roster to get back there next year. So there was a little bit of disappointment, but honestly, it was incredible. It was awesome to see everybody on the roster contribute all season long, from the rookies to the veterans, just to see how this team runs and handles itself. It's such a different level. And, the biggest surprise to me coming into it is outside looking in, I was like, it's the Thunder. I'm sure there's a lot of there's got to be some ego there just due to the success they have. I know it's not the same roster, through the championship. There's been a little bit of turnover and whatnot, but still there's got to be, the egos, the attitudes, I got to be the person, I got to be the, center of attention kind of thing. So coming into it, I was a little worried about that, but that was the most surprising thing. There was none of it. All these guys on this team are just as selfless as can possibly be. Everybody just wants to do what needs to be done to help the team, and everybody wants to get the other guys in and get them to play, and everybody wants each other to get better and help each other grow. And it was just a phenomenal season. Really excited for next year because this team has all the potential to claim that title next year. We've got young guys that are going to make leaps and bounds of improvement over the offseason. I mean, just like EJ Sellers, like just the improvement he made from the first time I met him to the series is incredible. And I can't wait to see what that kid does between now and next year's World Series. And there's several new people that are looking really good. And, you know, the further Kyle gets away from that injury, the better he's going to feel. I know, you know, we kind of downplayed it a little bit, but, you know, that's a serious injury. And, you know, there's no way coming off the injury that soon, you're going to be anywhere near 100%, you know, in a week of beat ball, you know, those 4.5 hour games, there's a lot of fatigue that's going to be felt around that knee. And like I said, he has a ton of toughness, but you know, he had to be feeling it by the end there. But he got through it. But I'm excited to see what he's going to look like next year. He's expecting to be a lot quicker. I'm going to be working with him on, you know, fundamentals when it comes to running and movement and whatnot. I'll be his legs. Expecting to be you know, somewhere around a sub 440 yard dash.
Wow. Nice.
Just kidding, Kyle.
That's downhill with the wind in my back, right? I'm in San Fran right now. I might be able to hit it.
You're only
drop you in a plane.
You're only about 100 miles away from me, Kyle. Here, let me look to the west and wave. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, how's it going?
But
so
no, I'm just excited.
Yeah. Now, and I, you know, I wanted to get it out there for the audience, but I knew that from our talk when I got to meet you out in Norman. It was really fun to talk to you because you have that I don't know, like a kid opening up new presents on Christmas morning kind of attitude about the whole thing. So that was fun to experience.
I want to say one thing.
Sure.
Cody is always nice like that. He always cheering and smiling and always positive and a really nice person. I really like him. And Kyle, you're second now. Sorry.
That's fine, because I mean, honestly, my first impression of Cody when he joined is this guy's way too nice to be on the Thunder. Like, we are going to scare him away after the first practice. Like, he has manners. What is this? What is going on here,
Right,
guys?
I thought the same thing, man.
Right.
You might not teach Icky any bad words. We can't keep him around.
Right. If you can't
He's
correct him,
late.
you don't belong on Thunder.
He's late, Icky said. So I guess finishing up on 2023, and I do want to turn my attention to the All-Star Showcase weekend. I'm going to start with you guys, Cody and Zach. And since you've both been invited to go out there, I'll go first to you, Cody, and then to you, Zach. But I'm just, you know, wanting to kind of get your response to being invited. I'm curious your plans. Are you guys going to be able to make it out there? Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, so I'm 100%. I'm going. I'm super excited, but I was so pumped when it first I started last year. You know, I talked to Justin Holland a good bit. You know, we've been friends for a while now, and when that was announced, I was pretty excited. You know, after the first one went off and kind of saw how they did things and whatnot, some fun ideas popped in my head about that. It's like, you have all the best players in the league in one spot for a weekend. First off, those are going to be some awesome games. Like, that's the best of the best, showing what our sport's about. That's what this sport needs. And then also, it's an opportunity for these guys. Like, a lot of these people you don't really get to interact with, you know, too much. Just, you know, the series and some whatever tournaments you all make together. But a lot of that time, you don't get to really spend it, you know, talking with these guys and interacting. Because most of the time, you're on the field, and when you're done, you know, for 8 hours of beat ball, you're going back to the hotel, eating, and going to sleep.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have the opportunity to interact with some of these awesome players. But then it's also like, going forward, you know, I don't know how much of that we'll do this year, but in the next few years, it could be a good opportunity for us to do some of these, like, try out some of these like rule proposals, you know, that people are like, you know, just kind of tossing out for fun.
Yeah.
What better place to test some of these things out than a weekend with the best players in the sport? Let them try out a game, you know, doing some of these rule proposals and stuff. It would be a fun place to try it.
Yeah, no, and I think they actually were trying some of that stuff last year, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did that this year as well. You touched on a couple things. One, like for myself, thinking about back when I was playing, how fun it would be to do something like this. The games are cool to think about, but I really like just the idea of just going for a weekend and spending the weekend with all those players. I think that would be very cool. And thinking about you in particular, like you, Justin, and Dontre from the Chaos, all possibly being out there together for the weekend, like old teammates getting back together for a little bit, I think is cool. Zach, what's your response about the All-Star Weekend?
Yeah, honestly, I had no idea until Jared had texted me and was like, "Hey, did you see you made the All-Star team?" I had absolutely no clue. But I was super honored. Like I was a little surprised, honestly. I didn't think I was going to make it. So that was really cool to actually be able to make it. And I've talked to TY and a bunch of people who went last year and said it was really an awesome time. So I'm hoping to maybe get out there. I haven't quite decided or figured out the logistics yet, but I'm hoping to. So
that's fair. And then to Kyle and Ikram, because both of you, you guys have been in the mix to where you guys are close to being in there. I'll start with you, Kyle. Is that something that you have interest in? Would you like being invited out there?
Yeah, when I earned my spot, absolutely. I mean, I didn't play well enough this year to get invited out there. I really hit a rough patch on late Wednesday and the early Thursday, I think, when the bat was just off. So looking forward to earning my spot out there.
Yeah, I think you were really close, like ahead of the World Series, because you had a solid summer. And I'm, it's not like I'm sitting here trashing what you did at the World Series. I think for some players, like they fell back a little bit just because other players had a good World Series and jumped up. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I had 7 Ks. It's unacceptable. You don't get 7 Ks with Jared and get to go to any type of All-Star anything. So,
well, I mean, I didn't want to blame Jared or nothing, Kyle, but
no, it wasn't Jared. It was me. It was me.
Kidding.
It got to the point Jared looked at me and just, I don't know, dude, just swing the bat. All right, and that's what worked actually. So we stopped trying to fix it and we got it back together a little bit. But yeah, definitely didn't perform on defense or on offense like I wanted to this year. So.
Ikram, you were closer to getting named last year, I think, than this year. But is that something that you look at as something you would like to be part of?
That's the great opportunity. Why not? And seeing, joining the league best players and trying to learn something from them. Definitely, I would love to. But just like Kyle says, to earn it. And I think I didn't do well this year. And there was some defense that need to be there, especially World Series. Prior World Series was a good record, but in World Series I didn't do much. There was some flaws, but definitely we'll come back again. No worries. There is always a chance to come back again, and if you have people like Kyle, Zach, and coaches like Jared and Darnell, definitely you have more chances than others. So yeah, I'm coming next year.
It helps to feel confident when you know you got you got a squad around you, huh?
Yeah, especially like when you are not doing well and you're just thinking a lot, and you have Kyle come in and say, "Hey, just get out from your whatever and just do your best."
You can say it, Icky. Come on, Icky. Say it. Tell him what the saying is.
No, it's PG. So, but just like that, if you have support system like that, you feel confident that somebody is there to help you, and nobody gonna judge you, even in your bad days. So yeah, we'll come back again. No worries. I'm not disappointed. Few I mean, how many players are in front of me? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I used to be all the way, I'm like 130, 140
He said, "I'm coming up the
years
chart."
ago, you know, like I am in the 50s, DB's ranking, whatever.
Right,
So I
right.
don't care. You know, we'll come back again. It's not a big deal.
Kyle, since you're a captain, I'll ask you: is Icky getting in his head a little bit too much?
Yeah, and if you put your finger on that bleep button, I'll tell you the saying. It's relatively PG if you want to hear it.
If it's relatively PG, I'm good. Overall, I'm good.
Every once in a while, I have to go out there and tell Icky to pull the stick out of his ass and play the game he knows how to play.
Does it work, Ikram?
Oh yeah, it does work.
Dude,
And I'm good. You know, like if you have brothers, friends like that and because you're dealing with your shit and hot weather and you trying to do your best and things are not clicking and you're thinking a lot because you know somebody's yelling at you, you know, to say that. But in those situations, yes, you get pressure. And people like me, I kid you not, but sometimes it's really hard for me to be focused when you're trying to do something and things are just all over the place and coach is yelling at you like, oh shoot, what I should do? Come on, you know. But that's the support system you want always.
Yeah. Overall, I totally understand really kind of all of it because I was a captain of nearly every team I played with. And so I was expected to do Kyle's job, but I also, Ikram, like you, am guilty. Like nobody got in my way more than I did. When I struggled on the field, I got into my own head and it just made the struggle worse. Usually it was always Bam Bam, Seth, that had to come over. It's like, look, man, I don't know what's going on with you, but you're a leader on this team. You're hurting us. So I'd have to kind of snap out of it or whatever. But nobody got in my way more than me. So I kind of understand all of that. Hey, Ryan, since I asked everybody else, and you know, spotters are part of the All-Star Weekend too. Have you had any thoughts of being a spotter out at the All-Star Showcase sometime? Did we lose him?
Reece, you said Ryan.
What did I say, Ryan? I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. Sorry, Reece. There's no Ryan on here, so you should have just jumped in. You're the only one that starts with the R. I'm terrible.
What was that? What was that?
So I'm talking to them about All-Star Weekend, and you know, spotters get called out there too. Have you had any thoughts of being a spotter at the All-Star Showcase?
I not really, to
Not
be
really.
honest. But if I was invited, I would definitely be down to go down there and spot. I love being around people. I love being around everybody.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a family. I've been around b-ball since I was like 5 or 6. So I know like almost everyone.
Yeah, I actually love that you're young and already talking about like the family atmosphere, because that's really the word everybody uses. It's a word I've been using since I was probably your age around this sport, and it's a word everybody uses, man, when it comes to our game and our World Series tournament and any events we have. Like the word family is just always included, whether it's the team, the membership, whatever. I know a lot of us fight and disagree, whatever, but you know, all families do that. And in the end, I love how everybody looks at the sport as like just a big family affair in a lot of ways. And when you got families like the Woodards and the Lewises and Zach Buhler, who's married to the daughter of Jerry Wendell, the president, Karen Wendell, our first woman player that went into the Hall of Fame. I mean, there's family ties all over the place with this stuff. I'll be honest, guys, I really don't have anything else to throw at you, but I always like to leave it open. Is there anything that any of you wanted to throw out or would like to have talked about before we wrap it up? I like that.
Yeah. I just, you know,
like,
I gotta
man,
get one more. Just gonna throw one more out there. Just gonna say, hey, just always lead with the head.
Twice.
It's the second week.
I'm still learning though how to leave with a hand.
Second week in a row that made it onto the show. Like last week, I had Eric Rodriguez on. He's like, so many people don't know that you're supposed to lead with the head. Like,
You got to
all
lead
right.
with the head. We've been coaching that here on the Thunder for years.
I don't put it the same way, but when I'm talking to people about defense or coaching defense, I tell them to always look at the ball. I mean, which is kind of the same thing. If you're not looking at the ball, you don't know where it is.
Yeah, I mean, eye contact's important.
We gotta have the right blindfold
gotta
for
stop,
that. Though.
man.
Don't take me. Don't take me.
gotta stop.
All right,
You're
that's
killing me,
enough. One thing I do want to say to you though, Kyle. Man, props to you. I have admired watching you work as a board member. My very first term on the board was in 1989. I was too young. I was like 21, and I was just, my ego wanted to be on the board, and so I was an empty seat. But later, I spent a lot of years on and off the board, and I'd like to think I became a strong contributor. But there's nothing I hate more than seeing an empty seat on our board of directors, and you are no empty seat. I noticed in March, and again at this past, I guess, post World Series meeting, like you think about what you say. Like, you don't make a motion without thinking it out, and I mean thinking it out like you're playing chess, like 3 steps ahead of time. Yeah, I worded it like that so we can avoid this. So I don't know. I just want to give props to you. I think
I appreciate that. I mean, I've served. I was on the board for the Extreme, and I've been on the board for the Thunder for a while now, so I do have some experience being part of a board. Now, I appreciate what you said. Some of my fellow board members may not appreciate me so much because I'm a bit of a stickler at times. But yeah, I'm just, I'm here. The league voted me in to represent the league and to help this sport, so that's what I plan on doing until I'm done.
Well, I feel like you do it with honor. So
Thank you
from the outside watching in. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. And thank you to all of you. I know this is kind of a big show. I know y'all put time aside. You're all on the East Coast. Well, everybody but Kyle and myself. We're on the right side of the country. But
not really. Not really. You're the wrong side of town. There is no grass over there.
There's grass in Sacramento. Well, not this time of year. It's been hot.
I just walked past some grass earlier.
Yeah, well, San Francisco
That's
never
a
gets
fake
above
grass.
like 80 degrees, so they have grass all year round there. Well, everybody, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. I enjoyed talking with all of you, getting some background stuff. Ikram, it was great to get a chance to meet you. Reece, I promise I will work on getting your name right every time I say it. I am terrible with names, so I do apologize for that. But
Write his name on the
problem.
braille and
Definitely.
keep reading.
what did you say, Reece? I thought Reece said something.
I said, no, don't worry, you're not the only person.
Fair enough.
Terrible at spelling it.
Fair enough. All right, that is it for now. I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate anyone and everyone that checked this episode out. I am pretty sure we're going to be able to get our recording next week in on Friday. I expect Bam Bam to be back here with me, and I am looking forward to having another conversation to bring to you. Everybody be well until then. Take care.